Hello and welcome to the Overly Animated Podcast, where we take animation seriously. We talk animated shows and movies here, especially Miraculous Ladybug. Find everything about us at overlyanimated.com. I'm your host, Dylan Hysen, and today I'm joined by April Collins.
Hi there.
April and I are going to talk Hazbin Hotel Season 2 today. It wrapped
Woo.
up a few weeks ago, maybe 2 or
Yeah.
3 weeks ago on Amazon Prime. It had been airing over the last few weeks, I guess, throughout November, October. Anyway, a little delayed, but we have our thoughts now here on Hazbin Hotel. April and I did a podcast on Hazbin Season 1, which you can check out at overlyanimated.com. Search for Overly Animated Podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts. I think we'll probably reference some. At least I have some references to our first podcast as we go through our thoughts on season 2, so that'll be a good one to listen
Ooh,
to.
fun.
Yeah. I thought that was a really good one, so you could go check out our Has Been Season 1. And we also covered the pilot a long time ago on this podcast. So continuing Has Been discussion, we're going to get into spoilers for all of season 2. I'm going to put this warning up right away just because it's going to be hard to talk about without, and it's been out for a little
Yeah.
bit. So spoilers for all of Has Been seasons 1 and 2. Make sure you've seen it before continuing. And I'm also going to do the rare move of putting up a little bit of a negativity warning here. I'll speak for myself because I don't know April's thoughts yet, but I do have some critical thoughts of the season, and we're usually very positive on this podcast. So I just want to say, like, if you're a big fan of Has Been and you're not in the right
Like,
headspace to hear negative thoughts, you can pause it and come back later. I don't want to make anyone mad by by being super negative, so I just want to warn you ahead of time.
no.
Some
I think
negative
that's
thoughts
fair.
incoming. Yeah.
I think that's fair, especially like I don't because some people like are such fans that it's hard for
Right.
them to
Yeah,
take.
there's some passionate fans of the show, yeah.
Yeah, so that's
I mean,
fair.
us included. We've been fans for a long time. That being said, I don't want to bias the discussion because I do have a lot of stuff I liked as well, and I don't want to
hmm
lean April in a direction. April, I want to get your unadulterated thoughts on Has Been season 2. So let's get into it. April, what did you think
All right.
of this season?
So I did enjoy this season. With that being said, I do have a lot of feedback and criticisms, which we'll obviously get into. Uh, just to, I guess, summarize my thoughts, like the music for the most part is still stuck in my head,
Yep.
and I'm still researching different theories and speculating on the next
Mm.
season. And if I'm engaged in such a positive way like that, then I consider it a success. But again, like I do have feedback and criticisms. I thought the animation for the most part was still very clean. And I enjoyed that there was more battle sequences. Um, so it was an interesting watch for me because I'm not super into like cult-ish things. If you know me, I love scary movies. I have a friend group. We watch scary movies like once a week. Not right now, but like overly cult stuff is kind of like my trigger. I don't know what it is. And I do have to like shout out to Christian Borle. I think that's how you say his last name. But this was his season and I very much enjoyed him. So
Vox, correct? Is that Christian
yes,
Borle?
Vox. Yeah, Christian Borle's Vox. So sorry.
I do think he was pretty fantastic this season. I agree.
Yeah, like this was definitely like this was his show this season. So
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
yeah, I was gonna say I have a lot of like other things like in terms of like characters, what took place, like you know things like that. So, but I know we'll get into it. So let's hear your thoughts, Dylan.
Okay. And also, I forgot in the beginning. I want to say it's been a minute since the season, since I've seen the season, so I just want to warn. I apologize if I get anything wrong. I might throw to April on what
I'll
happened with this
correct you.
character this season. Yeah, I've only seen it once too, so and Sarah and I were watching like week to week. So I've re-listened to the music a bunch though, so that's kind of my prep is. I feel like I
That's
know the
good.
songs decently well. Um, yeah, let me refer to. I might get a little ranty at times, but let me refer to my notes for my overall thoughts because I think I have a better way of saying it. Okay, so I think ultimately Has Been in season 2 was good.
Okay.
With a pretty good last few episodes.
hmm
Though I did enjoy it much less than season 1, which
Fair.
To be fair, I feel like higher than almost anyone on season one. Like we have our little the year awards, which used to be a bigger thing. Now it's just in our Discord. It's like, what's the best animated show of the year? I voted for Hazbin last year, which it aired in January, by the way. It's interesting. It's unusual. It aired in this next consecutive year. Most shows don't do that anymore, so that's nice.
Hmm.
But I voted for this like over Arcane season two. I mean, it was close over some other incredible things. I loved Hazbin season one. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Like pretty huge difference in my enjoyment of season two. So it's unfortunate. Key criticisms. I just don't really love Vox. I agree that his voice actor was great. I just don't think he was built up well, like in season one or this season.
Hmm.
And there's so much Vox. So I mean, if you don't like Vox, it's a little rough season.
It's a little
Um,
hard to watch.
yeah, I mean, it wasn't hard to watch. It's just like, I wasn't as into
Yeah.
it. Charlie and the hotel itself, I don't think there's that much interesting stuff with Charlie or the hotel this
That
season.
I have thoughts about
Yeah.
that.
Um, I don't, a preview of my rant coming up. I hated Sarah suddenly being regretful of her genocidal actions.
Oh my
That's my big
gosh.
rant that's coming up. And I just didn't think that the writing was very strong this season, unfortunately. Which, could not necessarily a criticism of the writers itself. There's a lot of factors, limitations. Well, some of it's on
Yeah.
the direction. But yeah, I mean, the at times I really didn't like the writing. Other times it was decent. The songs I thought overall were worse than season one. But on the other hand, there were some bangers, and I did really like the music still overall. Um, and other positive thoughts. The finale I thought was really good this season. Uh,
Very good.
a lot of the what I would say mediocre plot lines throughout the season, I thought they had good endings. So I think that they got there with a lot of stuff. Um,
Ooh.
and I think the animation was stunning as usual. So I
Yeah.
think I think you take that for granted. But like, even if I mean, this show is so beautiful and has great songs. So honestly, that's like kind of the most important thing. Um, and an interesting thought is ultimately, I feel like this season works better when you think of it as like a 4 hour stage musical, like an actual like play.
It kind of felt more like that than like an actual show. So I do kind of agree with that. And I almost wonder if it was intentional, especially, and sorry if I cut you off,
Oh
but
no,
especially
this is good.
especially because they did have like that one night show on Broadway.
Hmm.
So I wonder if that's almost like anticipatory that they were like, hey, because like I really enjoyed that special, but it did feel very like all over the place, and this might be a great way to sort of like if they decide to do it again and they focus on season two, like the other one they've sort of focused on season one, and this kind of gives them direction, if that makes sense. So, plus, like,
It's a
all of these people are Broadway stars. So,
Yeah, well, they have a ton of Broadway stars on. It's a very Broadway oriented kind of show.
hmm.
I didn't feel that way about season one, but I do think season one also fits that bill a little bit. But especially this season, it's just like a lot of the plot lines and character arcs as a TV show, they're not up to snuff, in my opinion.
No.
But like the musical numbers are great and it's fun. And so like I think if I were watching it as a play, it would work better. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I think it's a lot of Hasbin is like a mindset thing, honestly. I have some more thoughts on that later. But um also an interesting point, in our season one podcast, I was talking about how like I didn't know season one I felt like turned into like this big action adventure show that
Yeah.
is in the vein of like Owl House of like an Avatar. And I was like, I
Hmm.
didn't know Hasbin was gonna be that type of show. This is incredible. Season two, I've like immediately pivoted from that. Like it was not this sort of action
Yeah.
adventure show, but I think it kind of went in that direction in the finale again. Like, so in retrospect, maybe season one wasn't this action adventure show. It just had an action adventure finale. Like this, for some reason, the show wants to have like
Yes.
Avatar-esque finales. Because again, I think season two, like we brought everyone together and we're doing like giant magic stuff to take out an existential threat. So again, once again, I thought it was like a very like in the vein of the shows we normally cover on this podcast, that sort of
Hmm.
finale. And I love it. And it's really the show's really good at those. I kind of wish the show was more of that tone overall. Um,
Yes.
but at the same time, that's just me. A lot of my criticism is kind of just like it's just my opinion. It's just like how I view the
Yeah,
show. It's not like an objective thing. Like I personally, I would like the show more if it were maybe more of the what the finales were the whole time. But like that's not like right. It's just my take on it.
that's fair.
Um, yeah, April, anything you wanted to follow up on or other overall thoughts?
I mean, overall, I don't know. I feel like a lot of my thoughts are like mostly like whatchamacallit, like tied to other things that we want to talk
Yeah,
about. I will say that it's interesting that you really, really enjoyed the finale, and I like did and didn't, if that makes sense.
yeah. I mean, there are parts that I don't like, but I think overall, like I will say, how about this? My favorite three episodes, I think, were the last three episodes. What were your what
Oh,
do you think of that?
okay. I can see that. I kind
What
of,
were you?
I'm
Do you
tr-
have a favorite episode off the top of your head? I mean, it's not really like a favorite
uh,
episode type of show. Maybe
it's
songs are easier.
I was gonna say songs are easier. It's hard to pinpoint like what my favorite episode was, especially because they released them in chunks.
Yeah,
And so every time they do that, it all just blends into one bit for me, right? And so it's really hard for me to differentiate between episodes. Like I just started like casually rewatching it in the middle of the night last night. Um and
as one does.
as one does, especially with a newborn. Um, and and I was just like, I vaguely remember this happening. I thought this happened later in the season, like so. Um, so I mean, I kind of connect more of what's going on to like the songs, just because they are like the focus of the show, if that makes any sense. Um,
Yeah,
so But last three, yes, there's a lot that takes place in the last three episodes, and I can see that definitely being, um, like well worth favoriting, because there was a lot in like the beginning that I found really annoying. So,
yeah.
um, like
Yeah,
like
let's
Charlie.
start getting in some of that
Okay.
stuff as we talk about so because we'll go through the characters later, but let's talk about some of like the
Yeah,
overall like I guess since we're talking about this, how about the hotel? Like where we start with the hotel of tr- all these people are interested what and then Vox
yeah,
is Charlie's trying to get the message across and has this whole like media wars with Vox. Oh, and them trying to like prove the
that
redemption,
redemption is
right?
real. Well, and it's interesting because as the audience, we know that redemption takes place, right? We don't necessarily know the mechanics of it yet still. We just know that it happens. And no one knows the mechanics of it, right? Like not even the people in heaven know how the redemption took place. And so I hated Charlie doing like the media war thing with Vox. I like it was because the Hazbin Hotel was her project, right? And then after everything that took place in season one, like I totally understand PTSD is very real. It's very hard to cope with, but at the same time, like it would have been more productive to show her working through the hotel. Whereas she was just like freaking out the entire time and left it all up to Vaggie or whatever her name is going to end
Vaggie
up
or
being.
Vaggie?
Or what were the other names that they gave her? So there
Yeah, I
was
don't know.
a whole list of them.
Hmm.
And so it all kind of like fell to her, right? Um and and I don't know, it was just like, is the show Has Been Hotel? Like also
Yeah,
I real
so what was the issue with you? Was it that Charlie wasn't like running the hotel like we kind of went off of the basic concept?
kind of, yeah. Like we went off the basic concept, and like I thought that it was very realistic that like all these people showed up, but then whenever they realized like, oh, this is about redemption and not necessarily like fighting against angels or doing I say in a more like taking it as a more center light, then they were like, I'm not as interested. So I think that portion of it is interesting. I think it would have been more productive to like follow through on that versus her just trying to like discredit Vox discrediting her. So she was very like honed in on what was happening in terms of the media instead of like actually trying to make a difference, which seemed out of character for her. Especially after season one, like she was so focused on helping everybody, and making sure that Heaven saw that she like, you know, we're actually trying down here. And instead, like this season, she was just like running around being like, "No, it's I stop saying those things." Like
Yeah.
it didn't seem it seemed like her character took a step like two steps backward instead of moving forward. And again, like I understand like she's very obviously dealing with something like dealing with a lot, but there are better ways to deal with things. Like, and I don't think that in a world where you're displaying like where mental health is, becoming more of a normalized thing, that you'd show someone just freaking out and then everyone's just kind of like, okay, Charlie, we'll deal with you later. Like, so I didn't
Yeah.
necessarily.
Now that you mention, I forgot about that. That Charlie's just on like on one the whole season,
Yeah, she is literally on one the whole season until the very end.
and it doesn't
Um,
end like until Easy the song
yes,
in episode 6. That's like the first time we like attempt to deal with it, I guess.
yes.
Right. I
So
guess maybe that I don't know. Maybe there's stuff I'm forgetting, but it is an interesting choice. The in terms of like the publicity wars with her versus Vox. It's in. Could you mention like we don't know how redemption works? Because as an audience, like we would be more interested in seeing. Does it require like the thing I'm most interested is
like
like does it require this grand sacrifice, right? Like that seemed to be the key for Pensius. But
right.
like that would be more interesting to us, but maybe it's more realistic in terms of our world today for it to be about like disinformation and facts aren't facts and stuff like that. So like I in that regard, I get where they're coming from with those themes.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it did seem very modern. I think the issue was it just wasn't particularly fun to watch,
No.
and so it's and we just spent a long time on it. We spent like over half the season, I feel like, on it.
Yeah. Just kept going on and on and on, like way longer than it should have. Like it would have been fine, like okay, maybe until like speed run for redemption, but then she just sort of started this like wallowing bit, and it's like, okay, well, why aren't you trying to figure it out? Like you were shown and like you were told that what you did worked, but you're just trying like you're not even trying to experiment with it, right? Like especially because she's the person who's just like every person is different, and it's like great, but now you're treating Angel Dust just like Sir Pentious in an attempt to prove that you were right. Like it didn't even seem like it was about like saving sinners. It was more about like proving she was right or saving face for the hotel.
Yeah. Because of the Vox kind of centric direction that they went with it.
Yeah.
Which again, at least on this theme, I get where they're coming from. It's like they wanted
Hmm.
to focus on Vox this season, and this aspect of Vox feels very modern. But I thought it made it less watchable, especially for Charlie. How about Vox? Oh yeah, and by the way, you mentioned off topic, but you mentioned like that we was like, oh, are we gonna be fighting angels? And that's where I was coming from when I said in the beginning that it was like I thought we were gonna be more of an action adventure show. I thought it was like, oh,
Yeah.
we've had this found family that we've got everyone together, and now we're gonna fight back against heaven. That's where I thought we were going after the season 1 finale, and it's like we like hard do not go in that direction, hard pivot.
Yeah.
And so that's what I kind of mean. Not that again they can do whatever they want, and it's not. We still might go in that direction, but to be honest, I feel like the need to focus on Vox is a core of a lot of these issues. You know, it feels a little
Yeah.
unnatural. Um, they put Vox in a certain role, which didn't help, which I'm going to rant about in a second. But um, yeah, what do you think of Vox this season? Because I think you're more of a fan than me, April. I do think he was up to a lot of interesting stuff.
I think he was up to a lot of interesting stuff, and I think in comparison to Charlie, I think that's probably why I'm a little bit more like on his side, even though again, not into the whole cult kind of stuff, which was very much like the vibes that I was getting. Um, but I was very surprised that like his backstory, he wasn't like a religious leader or like a cult leader. And but then like I was like, okay, the TV personality thing makes
Hmm.
sense. Like so it I think the choice to show that backstory was very interesting as well because I don't know if it necessarily made me like him more or dislike him more, if that makes sense. Um,
It was at least
but
interesting. Yeah. I don't know if that they were
yeah,
trying to sympathize him with the audience.
yeah,
And they're also trying to contrast, like, show in many ways, I think, how he was similar to Alistair's backstory, which is the
hmm
other backstory we got.
yeah. Well, and like I think what was exciting about Vox in the first season was the fact that he was Alistair's opponent, right? Like that was his arch nemesis. And then like you come to find out that literally the only like the reason why he hates Alistair is literally exactly what Alistair said, and it's because Alistair didn't want to like join forces with him. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, like that's a little flat. And like I think that Vox's character really shines when he's interacting with Alistair and not necessarily other characters.
I think I agree with that. I like their face-offs the most
Yeah.
this season of
Like
all the Vox material.
their battle in the streets or whatever, fully enjoyed that. Like I was so excited whenever that started taking place. And even then like it's so funny. He's such a funny character because he's convinced himself that he's winning. Alistair literally gave himself up. Like
Right.
and so it's just like again, it's just it's entertaining to watch like that type of personality and seeing the full like scope of it because he's definitely like narcissistic for sure and using the other V's to get where he wants to be, which again Alistair said like so I think that I would have enjoyed more like of him interacting with Alistair um but like
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Those are the highlights. And I think the other role to this is all related. So I want to get into the heaven stuff here
okay
because I feel like Vox is in my mind related. So yeah, I want to give my rant on the Sarah so the stuff and heaven stuff. And
mhm
again, I just want to preface this with this is just my perspective. This is not objectively bad of the show. It's just kind of my take. And we got to, once I was watching, so we're watching the season. And when they get to Sarah's confession, the song, which by the way is a
uh-huh
beautiful song, Sarah's confession. No knocks the song, the musically the song itself, beautiful song. Sarah
yeah.
starts talking about how she really screwed up and is really
Cool.
mournful of how she's like repeatedly committing genocide throughout like eons, who knows how long, like I
Yeah.
guess it might not be that long, but just and we spend this season with Sarah's character and with Heaven in general, the it's like Heaven is regretful of what they've done and the only reason they might fight back is to protect themselves. And I just felt like I was going insane watching this show do this. And I don't know. I haven't seen like fan reaction, honestly. I haven't looked at anything. So I don't know if other people feel this way or not. But I just thought this is like the most unrealistic thing thematically in terms of our world. Like, I'm trying to think of
Yeah.
any world leader, present or past, who has committed genocide who is like regretful of it. It just rings
It,
so untrue to me, Sarah's attitude here,
it,
and all of Heaven's
yes.
attitude. I don't mean to blame this on Sarah. Sarah's still an interesting character. I think that they like went in the least interesting direction with her, to be honest. But it's more of like the show thematically what they did. So I have a lot of reasons why I hate this. One is it just feels so unrealistic. It doesn't, I guess that doesn't mean it's bad. It's just like we connect with themes from our lived experiences in our
Well,
world.
yeah, that's how we
So we like watch
operate.
shows.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I just did not connect with this at all.
Mhm.
Especially given present events. You can insert whatever you think applies here.
Yes.
But it's just like what the power structure, who has this like overall power advantage over this other with these people over this other people. They're just like, oh, actually, I didn't know that this was wrong. Like what?
Well, yeah.
Number two is Sarah is presented as sympathetic. I think this season maybe there's she's supposed to be morally gray, but at least she's not supposed to be awful. I think, and ultimately she only cares that people can be redeemed. She that's like what changed her. She doesn't care about killing people. She only cares about killing people that
Yeah.
could be redeemed. So she's still terrible. Like it's not. She doesn't even have good motivations. Like she doesn't even realize that it's not about. I mean, it's up to the show whether it's about this or not. Whether it's about being in heaven, like being in hell means you're a worthless person, I guess, who deserves to be killed. I like so that was weird. And I will say that's kind of interesting because that's at least like a complex motivation, morally gray type of thing.
Yeah.
Um, the other thing is that how Vox plays into this because Vox's role in the season shifts into person who is taking advantage of oppressed people's desire to kind of rise up from their power structure, their like
Mhm.
imbalance of power. And he's like the show is presenting him as like taking advantage of the position they're in for his own gain. Um,
Yes.
I think this is like off. I think this is like terrible morally, like my like moral worldview. Like someone leading people who are rising up against people who are oppressing them is not bad. Like Vox is like shown as bad is and he I'm not saying he's not. Like his
It's
actions are like self-serving, but in if you compare this to any sort of other situation, the
mhm.
person or the people who are in the Vox position here trying to get people to rise up, like the show focusing on them being self-serving and actually Vox is the terrible one in this situation, not Sarah. Like what?
Yeah.
Vox is a person who was people are being genocided and Sarah's the person who was doing it. I felt like I was going insane watching the show go in this direction.
If I'm totally honest, the whole like Sarah thing, her like quickly flipping like a switch,
Yes.
like I get that, but also I did not care because she still got away with it. Like more or less, like there was no like consequences for her actions. Um and I think that's something that we care about in this world is making sure that actions have consequences, right? Like and so, it's something and just to like throw in like the personal aspect of it, right? Like if I set a boundary with someone and they cross it, then I don't want to be around that person anymore and I'm not going to interact with that person anymore. And that's just a very vague example. But like if you do something wrong, then you can't just get away with it. And so at least
That's the
like
other aspect is like consequences. That is another.
yeah,
But it's to be on like I want to get back to that in a second, but to be honest, for
yeah.
me, what are my points here are like not even about the consequences of Sarah's actions. It's
Yes.
just like how the show was presenting her is. I couldn't even get to the consequences portion because it's like what are we doing here showing the
Mhm.
hell as in the wrong and like heaven as sympathetic in it's not a situation that is possible what they portrayed here. And
Well, and they
I guess what they I guess they did portray a situation where that's possible, but it just felt incredibly wrong when I was watching. It felt like this is morally wrong, this is unrealistic, this is everything is what I felt watching it.
I think I think my favorite like way to put that into representation of what you're saying is like because they're still like claiming to be innocent in all of this, right? And so I think the best representation of like what like this all summed up is how heaven shows up to hell with gift baskets
Hmm.
to say sorry for committing genocide. Like
Yes.
like
And like the show is like kind of it's like it's aware that that is in its own way that is like a weird thing to be doing. Of
I
course, it's presenting
I
that as a stupid thing to do, but it's like not aware of what you just said. It's aware of it in its own
yeah.
context.
And even like that Vox being like, "Oh, you think you could just make up for genocide with gift baskets?" Like the
And
gift baskets.
we're supposed to see him saying that is wrong. Like we're
Yeah.
supposed to see like he's right. Like what do we what?
It's like he's right, but he's wrong at the same time. Like he's
He's
right for
only
the
wrong
wrong
cuz
reasons.
he's only wrong because he's not trying to actually care about the people of hell. That's the only reason he's
Yes.
wrong. But like he's faking being a good
He's
guy.
yeah,
Yeah.
he again, which is why like it was almost kind of disappointing that he wasn't like a religious leader or like a cult leader in his real life. But I guess like with the TV thing, he started off as a weatherman, right? He had people's best interests, quote unquote, like
That's
at
interesting. Yeah,
heart.
and then he lost it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, and like he lost it, but he continued to use that, right?
He
To build
uses
his
it. Yeah. And
platform.
yeah, I don't know if I'm expressing this right. Like, yes, I agree Vox is bad in this situation. The issue is
Yes.
that the show is focusing on
Mm-hmm.
Vox taking advantage of oppressed people and not the plight of the oppressed people, right? Like it's not
Yes.
interested in the plight of the oppressed people. It's
No.
interested in actually oppressed people should not rise up in their situation. They should make peace with the people who are brutally slaughtering them. And Vox is wrong for not going in that direction. He's wrong for inciting their violence. I like just fundamentally like do not connect with what they were doing with that, like in
No,
any way.
there's a huge disconnect, I think. It's again, like with the gift baskets, I feel like it was intended to be like a gag, and it's like, no, there's so much meaning in that you don't even know.
And
Like,
but I will say I think the show is like kind of aware of this in its own, and I wouldn't be surprised if we go back into this getting into season 3 speculation a little bit. Ultimately, I do think we're going to hold Heaven accountable, and Heaven's going to be bad in some way. Like I think we got to go in
mhm.
that direction. So I think like maybe like the people listening who make the show are like frustrated in what I'm saying because it's like no, we're getting there. But the point is like
I
Sarah
don't.
is still the one who is responsible for this.
Yes.
And I kept waiting for the show to say that Sarah was not responsible. We introduced the speaker of God as a new
Yes.
character. Um I kept waiting for it to be like actually there's a bunch of seraphim and like I guess there are, but ultimately it's a council and they never took this responsibility away from Sarah, which is in some ways good, but it's just ultimately makes it even more frustrating that they are purely having her be like regretful of her actions and not interested in yes holding her accountable, but I'm more interested in the show itself holding her accountable, not like the characters.
Yes.
Like I don't need to see her in jail. I need to see the show understand that she's like a bad person, like regardless of what she's saying now. It doesn't like really matter because and the show is like again it's hard to talk about because it's kind of aware of that because again there are complex motivations with her
Yes.
because she is only regretful because of redemption and the show might get
Mhm.
into that more. So I will say I will have a little bit of patience in this because I do think we're going to get to some of these things that I'm talking about, but
It
it just made for the most frustrating watch this season.
I think I hope that we are, especially because we're kind of letting Luke just run around in her own madness, and like she's a character of heaven, right? So, and I don't know, the all of the heaven characters, like I wish we had spent more time in heaven, but I'm kind of glad that we didn't.
We it's weird because we kind of did spend a lot of time in heaven, and yet still Loot and Abel are like non-entities,
Yes.
and Sarah
Well,
is, and like we just get a lot of Serpentious singing about like puppies and rainbows and Emily. You know, like that's kind of the
yeah. Like I liked it's like nice that we introduced these new characters, right? But we didn't really do anything with them. Like we introduced and I know this is kind of like crossing into a different bridge or whatever, but like we introduced Abel, which I'm super curious about like what's going to happen, like what's going to go on with him because he's now leading Adam's army or Heaven's army, which I guess they're still keeping around. Um
yeah.
But then like he's like obviously not that person. And then we have Lute, who thought she was going to be the person to take over, and she's not. And now she's mad about it and still is like, I have a mission. And it's like, what exactly is your mission? Just to kill sinners? Because that's not cool. like, like
Yeah, with
you're no better than Sarah in this instance. So
it's the show portrays like Lute as like bad because Lute wants to go in and hurt people, but Sarah is not bad anymore because she's changed her tone, I guess.
she's decided
Um,
not to. She literally
so I
decided
guess
not
that's
to.
okay. I guess it's
Yeah.
just okay now. So yeah, speaking of consequences, like I think you're that's another interesting aspect that you bring up, and it's like part of the situation with Sarah is like Steven Universe White Diamond, like our classic
Yes.
like is it okay to forgive the big bad? Is what do we do with the big bad? I think that concept is like the most common theme slash ethical dilemma throughout animation through in the past 10 years that we've covered
Yes.
on this podcast. Like so many shows deal with that question. So the show is getting into it in its own way, I guess, but it almost chooses not to to approach it yet. I suspect we will do this with Sarah eventually. Once things are reconciled, we will have to like it's like, are we forgiving? But Charlie is like on Sarah's side.
Yeah.
It
They're like teammates, which again doesn't make sense. I mean, like it does because it makes sense for Charlie because Charlie initially wanted to work with Heaven, right? But Sarah never had any interest in working with Charlie until she needed to work with Charlie. Does that make sense?
yes,
Like,
yes,
so like so it's interesting that you make the comparison between Sarah and Vox because they're almost kind of the same character in their own different ways. They're only acting out of like self-serving purposes, right? But then they mask it by saying it's something else. So like Vox is trying to become the ultimate ruler, but he's using like rise up against your oppressors, but he's just going to be their new oppressor. So, but he's not saying that. That's the underlying like that's what's really taking place, but it's being like presented in a different package. Whereas Sarah, you know, oh, we got to commit genocide because they're rising up against us. Oh, but like they could be redeemed, so maybe we shouldn't fight again. You know what I mean? Like,
right. It's like the show is trying to portray Sarah as like doing the best she can, at least on the surface. Again, I think there are sinister things the show is intentionally threading in the background
mhm,
with her. But it's trying to show her as doing the best she can, and now she's doing the. But like the problem with that portrayal is it makes it so that you think that her leading an army to slaughter helpless people in repeatedly in the past as a legitimate action of her doing the best she can. Like the show does not question that.
yeah.
It's not interested in questioning that at this point. Um, it's more interested in moving on and finding peace. I just don't agree with its focus, and more than that, it just made for a frustrating watch for me. That
Well,
being said, I don't know if other people are talking about this, so this might not be a common reaction. I'm not sure.
yeah. Well, and again, the with Sarah, it's interesting too because she's like, I guess I say talking down, not talking down to Lute necessarily, but Lute and Sarah again have the same, like they both want to do the same thing, but she's like, Lute, that's bad. You can't do that. And it's like, you were the person doing it. You
Lude at
told her.
least is Lude at least is honest with her
Yes.
horrific violence tendencies. Sarah
Yeah.
is like worse because she like tries to hide it. Like
Yes.
it's frustrating. Again, I think part of this these things are partly intentional by the show.
Mhm.
So,
I and
but
I
I
I
wish if the show is trying to do a lot of the stuff I'm saying, I wish it would just do it. Like it's
yeah.
too in the background, and I think it's like waiting a little bit too much on it.
I think there's a lot going on, and that's part of the problem with this season because last season, like our focus, like we were very focused in, right? Like we're trying to redeem people, like we're building out this like found family more or less, and then we're going to protect ourselves from heaven, right? Whereas this season, we're trying to figure out if redemption is real. How does redemption happen? We got to take care of Vox. and like there's so much going all over the place. Like we have to protect the reputation of the hotel. We have, and then of course like the characters have their own personal conflicts going on, which we really only touch on with some people and don't even touch on with other people. And
Yeah,
like,
I think it's I have this written down somewhere that the show's biggest issue is still that it's being spread too thin and not focusing more of its important or most not focusing more on its important or most resonant characters.
yeah,
Um,
I
which
think
I think
that
was an issue in season one, but I think you're totally right that it's like way more out all over the place this season.
and one of my biggest, I say, I don't know, criticisms or personal problems with this season is that we spent all of the first season, again, building up this found family, exploring these characters, how they interact with each other. And then this season, it felt like everyone was so disconnected that, like, I
Hmm.
didn't even know if they were all like in the show, right? Like, like,
Yeah. Last season, it found the show hit gold with Angel Dust and Husk with their dynamic
hmm
with Loser Baby, one of the highlights of the season, and they do not follow up on that dynamic well this season, in my opinion. They have
no,
like
not.
they eventually have like episode 6, and it's like not a great follow up, but at least it was a little something. But like if the show I think if the show was more aware of how good those two characters were together, they would be like one of the main plot lines this season. But it's like very in the background.
And it could also be that this season is suffering from, like, it's suffering from the unawareness because it had already been written by the
Yeah,
time
probably. Yeah.
like the first season aired, right? Before you could get that reaction, before you could see, because it's not uncommon for shows to rewrite things based off the reaction of the audience. And so I think that if that it had taken its time to breathe a little bit more, then it maybe it would have been different. But like they're hustling through this show. Like they've already finished recording season 3. They've already started recording season 4. Like so
Yeah. I mean, look, I'm happy that it's a rare show that is getting to a season 4. Like it's
yeah.
pretty rare these days. But yeah, they are going fast through it.
But yeah, they're
Um,
going fast, and I think that they almost need to just, and I think this season is so representative of that too, right? They're hustling. Where are we hustling to? We don't even know anymore. Um,
yeah, I think it needs to focus down on its most successful characters. I give this criticism of almost every show, to be fair. Um,
yeah.
it's season 3 speculation. April, hit me with some of the theories that you've been seeing because I haven't seen anything. I have my own theories, but have you seen any common fan theories for season 3?
It's interesting because I haven't seen too many fan theories as to what's going to take place. It's more so of what has taken place and what is going on. So
Okay.
like one theory that I really enjoy exploring is that in terms of redemption, like Sir Pentious didn't actually die. Him deciding to perform that act like was very well timed, and his redemption took place, so he was more or less like transported up there, right? He didn't die. He just went up there because so I think that's like
Is
a very interesting theory.
is it that redemption is fake, or is it that redemption doesn't involve death? It just transports you. What do
It
you
just
what do you say?
transports you.
Okay.
So you're, because they're already dead. So I think redemption just it
It's
so
true.
the
It's
theory
true.
is, yeah, so the theory is just that redemption just transports you. You're not
So
necessarily
in the
dying
future,
a
people
second time.
can redeem and go to heaven without dying in
Yes,
their world.
and the biggest like reason, I say reason for that, is because Adam is gone, right? We literally watched Adam get murdered or killed by Nifty, but we haven't seen him anywhere. We've seen Lute's hallucination of him, but
Yeah, I mean, we've also seen that the people genocided are presumably not around anymore.
yeah. So death in heaven and or hell is very final, but Serpentius is still here. So
Yeah,
that's
doesn't you know what that made me think of when you were saying it? So I think that's really interesting there. I would love if redemption was just like fake and there was like kind of like it was like coincidence that Serpentius what happened to him, and ultimately the like system of morality is
it just
like not
glitched.
true. Um, I think the show is not going in that direction because it goes out. The show goes out. The season goes out of its way to show how the two people we get backstories for were like horrible serial killers, which I thought was
Yeah.
interesting. I'm like, is everyone in hell a horrible serial killer? I assume
Well,
not.
we got Serpentius's backstory too. So,
Okay, okay.
but he wasn't a serial killer, and he ended
What
up
did he
in
do?
he. I'm assuming it's because he watched people get murdered and never
Oh, and he didn't do anything about it.
he
Okay.
didn't do anything about it, and so with
It's serial killer adjacent that he was involved
yeah,
in. So
like
yeah.
he didn't. If you see something, say something. He just he,
But my point is the show goes out of its way to show that the people in hell did terrible things, so that could be a mislead, but it does seem like there is a legit foundation of because it's like of course how like there's heaven and hell, but how real is that? The show doesn't necessarily need to be doing the Christian thing. Like it could have its
yeah.
own take on everything. It could be all fake. I don't know. I don't remember what The Good Place the show did. I don't know if there's
That's
a
that's what it kind of reminds me of because I remember the biggest thing about spoilers for The Good Place if you haven't seen it. Um, it's a great show, watch it.
mhm.
Um, is that no one had been like admitted into the good place in like forever because
So their system was broken. Yeah, so they
yeah,
could go in a direction like that too, where there is a real system, but it just got broken in at some point. Yeah.
I don't
Um,
think that the show's necessarily going to do that because if they did, then that kind of like ruins the show, right? The whole point of Hazbin Hotel is to watch sinners be redeemed to try and get into heaven.
I mean,
So,
I don't know. Is that the point of the show? I'm not
I
sure
mean,
after
not
season
anymore,
two.
but that was the initial concept, right? Like the daughter of
That's what the
Lucifer.
hotel is trying to do. Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they
So,
could, they could, yeah. So I think I agree. I think they'll stick to that to some extent. So I mean, I'll come back to you in a second for other fan theories. My personal thought is like speaker of God. This implies that there is a God, which you would think there is, but you don't really know. There's a lot of things in Hasbin that like are assumes, but we don't really know until they like kind of directly show it. Like I think this season it's like why are they all animal people is a question that we had, and I
but
think the season tries to explain it a little bit with some I don't remember someone's their backstory related to like Alistair was like shot as like accidentally being like a deer, and so that's why he has like antlers and stuff.
mhm.
um so like we get at least some connection here even if they don't fully explain it.
The character
um
design thing is very, very interesting, especially if you um watch Hell of a Boss.
yes, and I
So,
have not seen Hellboy, so what am I missing in there?
well, so in Hell of a Boss, the I don't know if you know like the whole premise of the show is like they're imps, right? So they're like imps are essentially like hell-born creatures, people, whatever, beings. And so they're essentially like the lowest of the low. And there's this group of them and they are like going to Earth and killing people for hire. So they're like hitmen. Um but again, like it's really interesting because I don't know that the like because like one character is a hellhound, but she wasn't like a human before. Um, so
Yeah.
the whole animal thing kind of gets really weird. There's one character, they're called, I'm gonna pronounce it wrong, they're Goatians, but they're like owl creatures essentially, which is what their character design is very much of the voice of God. So,
Oh, okay, so that relates.
hmm so yeah, so there's like a sort of crossover theory that like those characters in um whatchamacallit in Hell of a Boss are much more higher up on like I say the food chain of hell for than they like present them as. Um because of the voice of God, because it again, I can't say the word. It's like Goatian or something like that. But again, they're like owl creatures, but they weren't from the earth. So, and
Okay,
then
interesting.
they show people who died on earth, but like they don't look like animals. So,
Yeah,
but
but we
yeah.
see that but we see in this show that like at least Alistair is looks like an
Yeah.
animal and he died on Earth. And Vox had the TV head fell on him. So what we're presented is the people's
Yeah.
designs are related to how they die, I guess. Um, anyway, back to God. I guess my theory is just like we'll meet God eventually. We'll escalate. We'll meet God in this show, and this show's God is like the big bad. I think is like well, because how would God allow Sarah to do this? Like there must be some corruption with God or with the system in heaven. So that's where I would like to see the show go. But I'm less convinced that we're going there after this season. That being said, Speaker of God is an interesting connection, but I think we'll move up the food chain at some point from Sarah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I'm assuming the next person in line to God is the speaker of God, but we're also just assuming that there's actually a God. So,
It could you could do the empty throne type of thing. There is no
yeah.
God, and this is all a setup, and it's like this is
Yeah.
all fake. Yeah,
Because they've never talked about God as a character. We have the speaker of God, but
it's just
not
implied from the mythology. But now that I feel like we're at least going in that direction because you make a character called Speaker of God. The audience
Mhm.
wants to know what God is in this world, and so you
Yeah.
have to do something with it. It could be fake. I love that theory actually that God's not real in this world. That would be great. April, any other fan theories you've seen or your own theories?
Um ooh. I like because they've given us backstories, people like trying to figure out everyone else's like backstory. So like I think I saw one because I think Valentino's character is like a spider. And so like it's because they were like bit by a spider and died from the spider bite, or like I think there was one I saw about Velvet, and her like backstory was that she was obviously like an influencer like in the media or in the light, and she was obsessed with like plastic surgery, and she died like on the table or something. Like there's so many
Interesting.
different, yeah, like a lot of like what I've seen
What if
again
you
is
die in like a normal way? What
right.
if,
Like you just die of a heart attack.
yeah,
how
do you
does
become a
that
heart? Like,
how does
isn't
that
everyone
present
weird in this
itself?
show? Yeah, I mean, the issue is the show like clearly is like doing the designs without having an intricate explanation for everything, and then they're like trying to retrofit, at least to some extent. So, there's never going to be, I think, like a foolproof way of
Yeah.
explaining this entire show is just like here's a cool pilot and situation and characters and you know,
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't think I'm guessing. I don't think it was made with a intricate backstory in mind for every single aspect.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Anyway, any of your theories, April?
Um, I not necessarily because I'm
Where do we
so
end? Remind me where we end season two. So I mean, I know
literally
Lilith finally calls.
the last scene is Charlie's phone ringing, and she answers it and she says mom, and so I'm assuming we're finally gonna get to like actually see Lilith,
Hmm.
because I don't remember seeing her, or no, we did see her like for a moment being like, "Hey, heaven's being locked down." I do think that at some it was really interesting because at some point Sarah, she's like, "Oh, we're locking heaven down from the other realms." And I was like, "Realms
Interesting.
plural?"
Is that just
So,
Earth and Hell, or is there other realms?
well, cuz if you think like biblically there's like purgatory.
Yeah, that could be.
So, and we know that like hell has like the circles and everything like that, and that's all contained in hell. Um, though it doesn't necessarily all interact with Pentagram City, which is where the Hazbin Hotel is. So I was like, okay, what are the other realms? Like, is there purgatory? Is there earth? Like, what are we
Hmm.
missing? And why are you telling, like, it's like such a it's me focusing in on such a small detail. Because I'm like, oh, is this how like we get heaven and hell to unite, because there's another force that we have yet to see, that's going to come threaten both of them. So I'm very curious. And I also, because everyone was like, oh, Lilith is in heaven, but what if she's not in heaven? Maybe she's somewhere on a different realm. Maybe she's like the Garden of Eden is its own place and she's just back there, or I
Yeah, I was wondering where she was too. It's interesting. So other things that happen at the end of the season too. I'm reading now. And
Mhm.
I do remember. I did watch. So they all finally see Serpentius in heaven. So they see the
Yes.
redemption. Valentino's like the head of the V's now that everyone hates Vox. Um,
But Vox
Heaven.
isn't gone. He's a TV head now.
He's just a TV head. I don't know if he'll regrow. Heaven officially ends the extermination and plans to welcome back redeemed sinners. Okay. And
They say that,
Vag
but we only have one.
Yeah,
So
so I don't know what that means. And Vaggie is the manager of the hotel, and yeah, Lilith. Okay, so I don't know. I think we could kind of go in any direction from there. I don't know if they're really,
I'm
I don't know if they're really showing their hand too much yet.
I'm very curious to know about Alistair and what's going on with him, because I know his story's not over, even
Yeah,
though like they kind of made it seem, and I think maybe I'm a little like unsatisfied with that with this season as well, because like that was like a lot of like the big questions about him in the first season, right?
yeah,
Who
we haven't mentioned it yet, but what is Alistair's curse? What's his backstory?
Well,
The,
yeah. Well, so we got like, okay, he was
they answered
murdering.
it this season.
They kind of, but also they left some stuff open. Like, where did he we know that Rosie sent him away for 7 years, but where did she send him and why?
Okay, so there's some stuff to fill in there. I like
And
that.
again, Lilith has been gone for almost 8 years.
Ooh, do you think
So,
Lilith and is that a popular theory? Lilith and Alistair have something going on?
they're not necessarily like, I mean, cuz we know like not romantically, obviously,
Yeah, just
but
like maybe
like
a scheme, or they
a
did
scheme.
something, or
Oh, that reminds me. There is a theory that Rosie is Lilith, or she's like
hmm.
Eve. So so there's like
Yeah,
a theory.
Rosie does seem extremely important this for someone who we don't really understand. Or
Yes.
her, yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
Kind of
yes,
true of all the
well,
overlords.
true of all of the overlords. The other thing too is like cuz remember with Rosie, in order to be free of her control, he was supposed to pay off his account. So he was supposed to do something for her, but what? So I feel like that's something that could come back into play, because what was he supposed to have done for Rosie that he hadn't yet completed? And what did it have to do necessarily with Charlie and potentially Lilith?
The only
So
things I remember from the contract are, uh, well, he had to like not be the most powerful sinner to get out of it, and he had to like watch over Charlie, right? But I don't know. Maybe there are other components.
well, the way that I understood it, it was that he as long as he was the most like he wanted to be the most powerful overlord sinner in
She
hell.
promised that he was the yeah. She promised
She
he was the
promised
most powerful.
that he would be that, and but she would still have control over him until he did X or whatever, right? Because around he goes a long roundabout way to get free of Rosie. And the way that they interact leads me to believe that that's not how it was supposed to play out, him getting free. At
Yeah,
least,
well, my interpretation, there could be, you're right, there could be more to it, but I think basically just he found the loophole in the agreement
well, yeah.
because she promised that he would be the most powerful. So once Vox declared that he was the most powerful, that
And
like
once
negated the contract, so he
and
was free
once
after that point.
Charlie affirmed it as
And once
Princess
Charlie,
of
yeah,
Hell.
oh yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah. Okay.
because he used his
So I think the show is presenting it as think as simple as that, and I'm
it's
forgetting how
presenting
Charlie played into it, but yeah,
it's presenting it as simple, but I feel like it's more complicated. And
yeah, there could be more.
because there's literally no reason for us to care about Alistair anymore, right? If you just look
Well,
at
okay,
it at
well, yeah.
surface value, then
I
like
guess
on
so. I want to talk more about Alistair this season when we get to the characters. But in terms of speculation on where Alistair goes, it's interesting because in the final song, I know what happens more in the songs because that's the part I've re-listened to. Alistair he's like has to be paid to help out at the end. He like is claiming that he wouldn't have helped uh, unless he was kind of incentivized to. So that would mean that he's not wanting to work with Charlie anymore. But the obvious speculation is like he was just trying to get something out of it, but he always would have helped Charlie because he ultimately does care about Charlie. That would be my interpretation. Is I think maybe
the
Alistair's going to play Kuth or whatever, but he will still help them out in the end.
well, so one thing to remember about Alistair, at least in this season, is that he's very upset his staff is broken, right? And
True.
Rosie refuses to fix it. Um, because she still has like
Did she
plans for
fix
him.
his staff in the song at the
She
end?
did
Is that
fix
what
his
happened?
staff at the
Okay,
end of the
yeah.
song. And so I think that it's very like unless something new comes to light, it's very surface level where she makes a deal with him like, "Hey, I'll fix your staff if you help them." Because she's
So
pushing for
maybe he has
him.
to help them. Maybe he has to help them more by those terms or something. But yeah,
Yeah.
he wanted to get something out of it with the staff. So, but the
Cuz
question is, will he still be at the hotel in any capacity now
or
that
is
he's
he
free?
still under any kind of Rosie's command
Right.
because of this new deal
I
that he
definitely.
struck?
Yeah, that's a good point. I interpreted it as he's free from Rosie now, but they could play. They could do something with that.
Well, it almost seems like, at least the way that I'm seeing it, is like he got himself free of Rosie, but now he's not free of Rosie again. Or unless it was very straightforward deal of if
Right.
you help them
If you
destroy
help them
this
with
weapon,
destroy the
I
thing, yeah,
will fix your
I think
staff.
I think that's how the show presented it. But it's I mean, we're like the show is very like one or two sentence for every. It's like a musical. It's not diving into things, so we don't really know is the answer.
Well, and again, it's really hard too because I mean, we say this on, or I feel like I say this on the podcast all the time, at least lately, is that everything in animation is intentional, right? So why would we feature this conversation essentially between the two of them if there's not going to be something about it later?
Right. So
So,
it got his staff fixed. It brought Rosie into the mix again.
mhm.
And what my so it's what I was saying. That was my interpretation was I think the show is presenting Alistair's motivations as being potentially not in line with caring about any of our other protagonists.
Yeah.
And so he had to be forced into help. Everyone's helping at the end. Well, what about Alistair? Well, he had to be forced into helping, and he got a staff fix, so that's a convenient way of bringing that in as well. But the question remains about his motivations heading in the next season. So that's my interpretation of their
Yeah.
intentionality with it. But I think you're right. There's more directions they could. I mean, they to me, it seemed very neat with all the backstory and deals with Alistair. It's like we wrapped it
Mhm.
up, but like there's two more seasons and he's like one of the main characters. So of course
Yeah.
you're right that there's going to be other stuff that they're going to do. So I think those are some good ideas.
Like I want to
Um,
take it at surface level, but I know it's not that.
yeah,
Like
probably not. Yeah, that's a good point. Okay, let's go. Let's keep going through all the characters. We talked about Charlie already. Was there other things with Charlie? Any other things with Charlie you wanted to get into?
Not necessarily. I mean, just again, just reiterating that I didn't like how she was in this season, and yeah, it she was like chaotic in like not a fun way.
I think so. Which again, I think is like kind of they're doing it on purpose, but still like it still wasn't fun to
Yeah.
watch. I really like Charlie with Emily interacting with Emily. I think they're always fun together.
It's
Um,
funny because like what is it? There's one point where like they see each other and she's like, Emily. And Emily's like, I'm so excited to see you. And she's like, yeah, me too, for the third time. Like so I think and again that's one of the things too that we had really hoped. I remember us wishing to, or we wanted to see more of Emily and Charlie interacting with each other, and
Yeah. So
we
that I
didn't
think they
get
did. I
that.
think well, yeah, we got I like that they were willing to have Emily just create a portal and it's like, oh, okay, well, yeah, we can do that. And suddenly
Hmm.
Emily's there. And we didn't have to like go through a lot of hoops. So we got a few times Emily and Charlie together, but I do think that, I mean, they're very similar. So I really like them. The other person I really like with Charlie obviously is Vaggie. We haven't, probably should have gotten to this in overall thoughts, but
Oh,
my favorite moment of, no, good thing. My favorite part of the season was Easy in
yes.
episode 6, which I think is my pick for favorite song. But it's like not just the song musically; it's like the visuals in the episode and the
Well,
two characters.
it's funny because I've seen a lot of like criticism of Easy, and the biggest one is because it starts so abruptly. And I was like,
I do think it starts abruptly.
okay, so I think one of the reasons why I love Easy is because it starts so abruptly. Because in the context of the song, it's Vaggie pulling
The
Charlie
song
out
is
of the
like continue.
spiral.
Yeah, it's like it continues the dialogue. It's actually the most seamlessly integrated song into the show.
Yes.
So
Well,
yeah,
and
yeah.
like, and in terms of like dealing with someone who's dealing with something else, or not even dealing with, but like helping a person who's dealing with like PTSD, which is what Charlie is obviously dealing with. Like sometimes it's like you have to be abrupt like that with people, right? And so the fact that the song just hits you in the face out of nowhere
Yes.
is so perfect with
I like that. Here's my
Charlie.
own. I love that explanation. My only issue: Stephanie Beatrice's singing voice is so different from her Vaggie speaking voice
I
that when
know.
I watched it for the first time, I was like, "What is like Vaggie is like a?" I was like, "What's happening?" It took me. The song's so
Well,
good. It's quick though. It took me out of it for a little
Well,
bit.
and the other thing you have to remember too is that like Maggie's voice is not Stephanie Beatrice's real voice either. So,
Yeah.
like if you've ever seen like interviews of her real voice, it is
Right.
not the same.
This is probably like her like real singing voice, but not Vaggie's and like her real speaking
Yes.
voice. Yeah. So
Mhm.
that it's weird. It's weird. But I love that I love Easy. I love this as a follow up to Charlie and Vaggie. Um, in general, they're like plotline this season, whatever.
Mhm.
Vaggie and taking on more hotel duties. I don't, whatever. But in terms of Easy, I mean, this is a musical number to a queer women sex scene music number, right? Like,
Yes.
oh my God,
The
I've
the
never seen
im
this. I'm sure it exists somewhere, but I've never seen this before.
the implications of what is taking actually taking place is
I
I
mean, it's
loved
clear,
it.
I think.
It's
And at the
very
end of the
clear.
song, visually, they do the sitcom collapse onto the bed.
Yes.
It's very clear what's happened. Me with Easy is like the meme of like the guy. Is it the guy at the window? Is like they don't know. Like it's me to people who don't watch Hazbin. They don't know that there's like a
Oh,
like a musical queer sex scene in this show. Like
it's
that's our
the
fellow overly animated people that
It's
don't
like
watch.
the
Like,
meme of the guy at the party and he's holding a drink and he's standing in the
oh, that
corner.
one. Yeah, maybe that one. Yeah. I like people who don't watch this, so they don't know that this is like milestone animation queer up moment in a lot of ways. And we don't want to spoil it, but yeah, that was my. I mean, I think it's a great song. I love that they go there with them. I love that. I do like that it integrates into her helping Charlie. I mean,
Yes.
it's kind of like where was this earlier in the
Well,
season?
no,
Not
that is like my biggest criticism of that song is
yeah.
that okay, I really needed this like 3 episodes ago.
Not the sex, but
Not
her helping her, like
well,
her
yeah,
issues,
like
like
I was just
yeah,
like,
in whatever way works for you two, like
yeah, no, 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 not like the sex. I just needed her. I needed Charlie to be snapped out of it, and and I was like, thank God it finally happened because I would
right,
have
and
lost my
like
mind.
yeah, and I agree in terms of like the audience having to watch Charlie in that kind of manic state, but also just like Vaggie helping Charlie, like because I guess to be the counterpoint is like this is like a real issue for couples is like Vaggie's
Yeah,
helping her practically with duties, but she wasn't necessarily helping
helping
able to
her.
reach her emotionally, and that's hard to be there in all these various ways for your partner when they're struggling. So I do ultimately like where they're going. As with everything on the show, I wish it was like elaborated on a little bit more.
I
But yeah,
mean,
Easy's my. What about you, April? Easy's my favorite scene
easy
of the season.
Easy is one of my favorite songs. I have like three favorite
Okay,
songs.
we'll come back to the songs. How about Vaggie? I would say overall, we're about to go through each character, and I'm going to make the argument that almost every single character is like worse this season than last season.
No, I
Um,
think
I,
that's a fair well, because again,
but
like
that Vaggie is one of the few that I think probably she's more prominent this season at the very least.
she's more prominent and I really enjoyed that. Though I didn't I think my biggest like criticism of Vaggie is that she didn't like take care of the Charlie situation right away. She let it go on for way longer than it needed to, and I'm putting that on the character. Um, and
She was busy running the hotel, like I said. That's a
I
lot
mean, I
on
get,
her.
but also like her trying to figure out like who she is now, kind of thing.
Yes,
Um, I don't,
and she's going through that too.
and
It's a
yeah,
lot.
she's going through that, but like they're putting so much weight into like the her having a new name portion of
Yeah,
it.
right. I agree. I don't think the name was so successful in being demonstrative of her overall identity theme
Yes,
of what, like, I feel like they just made the name thing a gag and they didn't emotionally dive into
yes,
Vaggie's. Yeah. Again, as with everything, they didn't dive more into X, which in this case is kind of Vaggie's identity, emotional state heading into this season. And the name thing, it really to me just becomes like a gag, and it's like I don't really care ultimately that she arrives back at Vaggie, but with one letter changed. I don't know. What do you think of that?
I mean, I just didn't like. I didn't like that it was like presented as a gag, right? Because I
Yeah.
understand that some people do go struggle and go through a period where they're trying to find themselves and they're trying to find a new name for themselves. And I hate the struggle, but I love that for them, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
And I'm not trying to make it sound offensive in any way, shape, or form. Um, but I but and because of that, I didn't like that it was a gag. Like if it had been taken more seriously, I probably would have enjoyed it more, or like that's what I had wanted to kind of see with it
Yeah.
whenever they first presented the idea. But they didn't. They just didn't do anything with it.
Yeah. And the conclusion, it's like they like understand that the name Vaggie is stupid and they gave it like an actual explanation,
Mhm.
and but we arrive back at the same name, and that's kind of funny, but it's also like, okay, it almost like makes it more obvious that you didn't do anything with emotionally with
Yeah.
your character this season. So it's
Yeah.
kind of bad. But she did she was in the show more, so I guess that's good. We gave her one scene again with Carmilla, like maybe multiple scenes. So I thought Vaggie and Carmilla was the home run, one of the home run dynamics of season one. I love the two of them together. I liked their scenes less this season. I don't think they found the same gold as they did in season one.
Yeah.
But I at least that first scene when it felt like we're retreading kind of on the season one, but at least they're interacting, and I did find it more interesting than most. But yeah, I don't think, and we didn't. I don't think Carmilla sings in except for maybe in
No.
the finale. And I loved her. She had like two songs. I loved her songs last season. So to me, that was a
Yeah.
big downgrade.
I didn't also like that they made Carmela very like sh her character is she cares about her daughters. That's it.
Yes, she cares about her daughters, and she's a weapons dealer. And I'm like, okay, this is an interesting two things that might be in opposition to each other at times, and they haven't really gotten into anything else with her. They're just like, okay, you have this one motivation.
Yep.
Here's how this one motivation interacts with the current situation, and that's kind of it with her.
That's
But
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
again, let's dive more into X. This in this case,
And
Carmilla and her.
Zestiel follows her her
Zestial
direction.
makes two appearances. Zestial in season one, I'm like, wow, this is one of the most interesting character design voices, and like I'm so
Yes.
interested in Zestial. And then he once again only makes cameos this season. It's like, when are we gonna see more Zestial?
And his one cameo is literally just a gag like, "Hey Zestiel, they got boring shit up there." Books, tea, elder care. I was like, "Oh god." Is that what his character's boiled down into?
Yeah, I'm definitely afraid that at this point we're just not going to do anything with him.
Hmm.
It seems like a waste. But anyway,
Yeah.
there's Carmilla and Zestial as a bonus. Okay, how about Angel Dust? Uh,
Angel dust. Oh.
I this is one of the main characters who I thought was a big downgrade from season one, in my opinion.
I have to agree. And because or they were such a like important character in the first season, and then I feel bad because Charlie, after Speedrun to Redemption, even during Speedrun to Redemption, she does not care about him or them. Sorry, I'm
Yeah,
not.
that's true. Is Angel
And
Dust have they them pronouns? Is that
I
I'm
don't
not aware of
remember, and
this.
I'm trying to
I'm
be
pretty sure
respectful.
I'm pretty sure he's he. I don't know, but I don't know
I don't know. I'm trying to be respectful either way because,
though.
but but Angel Dust, the betrayal was. I feel like I should have seen it coming, but then like when I was kind of rewatching, like the moments they pointed out, I was like, ah, dang. Maybe if I had paid closer attention, I
I
don't
mean,
know.
not really betrayal. He was okay. Let me. I'm looking at Angel Dust on the Hazbin Wikia because I never even consider. I guess he's in drag this season. Okay,
Yes.
gender male.
Okay.
From a video apparently. I don't know. Okay, that's what the that's
Okay.
what the
Cool.
Wikia says.
But
But yeah, you can be like yeah. I don't know if Angel Dust is like a drag queen or if this was like one thing
well,
here, but that was
I think
interesting.
I I liked that he was like, oh, like sometimes I'm a prostitute and sometimes I'm
Oh,
a
okay, cool.
woman.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
so because what was it? Husk was like, "What are you doing here?" Like
Yeah.
so
I didn't I feel like Angel Dust was just like manipulated and hypnotized and wasn't really like
I
intentionally betraying them.
I feel like he was manipulated across the board because again,
Yeah.
like he was such a prominent character in the first season, and then he was more or less. I hate to be. He was like thrown away in the garbage almost. Like, oh, all of the things that he had done this season weren't even his own like free will. He was acting
Yeah,
out of
that's true.
Vox, and so to like they took away so much of his autonomy, and I just thought that was like, well, and then at the same time, I'm like, okay, well, I guess I understand why like we didn't do more with like Husk and Angels because Angel was under Vox's control, and
Yeah.
how would
I got
Vox
the
have known?
impression that it was, yeah, it's a good point. I get the impression Angel was only sometimes acting in Angel Dust power in Vox's power, but most of the time on like the times on screen when we saw Angel Dust, he was himself, but then like there were other times we didn't see that he was also mind controlled and betraying them. That was kind of my interpretation.
Well, and there was times that when he was on the screen that he was under like mind control because like I think the one that I remember very distinctly is like he runs into Charlie in the hallway and she's like, "Oh, I'm about to go do this." And he's like, "Cool, tell me about that later." Like
Oh yeah.
and,
Okay.
and so like it's in like moments like that that you're like, "Oh, dang." Like it was there all along, like sitting sitting in my face. And I don't have exact examples because I didn't have time to
Yeah.
get into that, but
I think the thing to me, I did not like the twist, Angel Dust mind control twist. I thought we were not given, it wasn't a thing where we were like given clues that we could have reasonably, I mean, maybe we were, but I didn't really think so. And they presented it as a twist that the audience could have picked up on type of thing. We
Mhm.
also weren't clearly presented that Vox had mind control powers. I know he has a spinny thing, but they didn't really establish that his spinny thing actually did anything. And I think, unless I'm forgetting stuff from season one. So to me, this just like came out of nowhere and was not very impactful. And the biggest issue is what you're saying is it takes away his agency and his character throughout the season, which was already a big step down from season one. And he didn't really do
Mhm.
anything and was just kind of like projected on Charlie's desires for
Yeah.
redemption. Um, so yeah, I really did not like. I think he's one of the best characters. So positives, episode six. Um, he has some. Finally, he has some stuff with Husk, and
Mm-hmm.
one of my favorite songs. Spoiling it is "Losing Streak." I think "Losing Streak" is that's his like drag performance or whatever. It's just his performance.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's an incredible song. I think Blake Roman is so talented of a singer and voice actor.
So
I I
talented.
think I think he's so good, and like I don't think we're utilizing Angel Dust because I think he kind of just steals the show whenever Angel Dust has big emotional moments or big songs. I feel like Blake Roman like completely steals the show,
Blake Roman is
and
incredible. He's such a good boy too. I follow him on Instagram.
nice. I like his that losing streak musical number. It just has no story significance or anything,
No
and
significance
it doesn't
whatsoever.
really it really does not matter. But it's I love it. It's so good though. But it's like, what if we actually gave Angel Dust some material so that because he's it's a standout character and a standout performance and like anyway. But I will say this about Angel Dust. I really liked the ending where he goes back to Valentino.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
because I thought that does ring true as like abuse victims going back
Mm-hmm.
to their abuser, unfortunately. Now, the show did not really earn this because I don't think we did enough with Angel Dust to portray this in a nuanced way, but
Mm-hmm.
thematically this felt right as like a heartbreaking audience moment of like this is a character I love
Yes.
falling back into their pattern of the system of abuse that they're in. Um,
Yes.
I wish they gave more stuff throughout the season, but I did like this as an ending, and it provides intriguing direction for trying to help him further into season three.
I like it as an ending, especially because Valentino is so interesting this entire season. His voice actor also very wonderful, Joel. Um, but so very interesting because the majority of the time that we see Valentino, he's with Vox, and like he's very much I don't know what like into Vox, if that makes sense. But then there's always snippets where he's bringing up Angel Dust, right? Um, and then even whenever like we see the scene of Val or not Val of Vox like mind controlling Angel Dust, Val does not seem happy about that in any way, shape, or form. And I'm like, that's a very odd emotion to show from someone who's very obviously abusing this character. So I'm
The whole Angel Dust the Valentino kind of abuse dynamic. They are trying to portray nuance there, where like Valentino
mhm.
has some actual feelings or caring about Angel
Yeah.
Dust. And it's like, okay, this could be interesting if you were actually interested in showing this in any sort of
Yes.
detailed or nuanced way. Again, same thing. What if they showed X in more detail?
Yes.
But as is Valentino, I feel like is one of the least sympathetic characters on the
Oh,
show because
absolutely.
95% of in many ways, he's less sympathetic than Vox because we see him clearly abusing Angel Dust
Mhm.
and it's so obviously awful and and they don't give us really anything else to come back from that with him. Yes,
Yeah.
he's interesting voice and design and songs and I mean not really songs but he contributes to
Yeah.
songs. And so there's
I'm
clearly
curious
something
to
there with the
see.
character but like
Yeah.
they're trying to have their cake with Valentino without putting any effort into it in my
Yeah.
opinion.
I'm curious to see him without Vox
Yeah, that's
because
true. I'm
because
intrigued with him as like the leader of the V's. It could be interesting.
I'm intrigued with that, and also it whenever you know the very like I say stereotypical in terms of like abuse is like, oh, that person abuses another because they were abused themselves, and we see that like in the dynamic of Vox and Valentino. And so I'm curious to see if Valentino loses that e- example.
Mhm.
Where does he go from there? Uh
Yeah, it's a
I
good
don't
point. I
know.
do think the show's trying to portray Valentino as negatively influenced by Vox.
Mhm.
But again, he's just so inherently
Again,
unsympathetic because of his
yeah.
active abuse of a character we care about. And in general, like it's not like Vox is going around murdering people. Like it's like he's just clearly anyway. I think I made the point. So I agree. They're trying to go in that direction. I am worried about Valentino in that regard. I like speaking of I guess Valentino. I like Velvet. I really like her singing voice. I I don't think they really did anything with her this
They
season. I
did
feel
nothing
like
with her. So I'm
yeah
curious is how much of a character she is or becomes in the next season.
yeah.
Um because again,
If I had to pick who out of the three would be featured, it would be Velvet because I think she's the most intriguing. And she's not someone who we're always gonna hate like Valentino. Like Velvet they could make her like a morally gray type of villain type of person. It
I,
would be interesting.
I fear that with Velvet, she's just going to be a character that's there unless like she starts to do something. Because if she was going to do something more, I felt like it would have been this season and she didn't
Yeah, you would think.
really do anything. Like,
Yeah,
and maybe that's just like the best, maybe that's just who her character is, right? She's just going with the flow, kind of doing whatever she pleases, which is nothing. Um so it's just interesting, especially in the context of like Vox needed Valentino and Velvet, right? In theory, those two are more powerful than Vox. So like what what does she contribute to that power dynamic? Um
yeah.
Maybe we'll explore it, maybe we won't. We'll see.
We'll see. Alistair, we've talked about Alistair a lot already. Again, another character I think was a big downgrade this season, but it's kind of I see some good and bad with Alistair this season. I think it's
Mhm.
kind of not so clear cut. Here's the thing. The conclusion, the idea, here's how I would describe this. The idea of Alistair's character arc this season is he intentionally subjugates himself to Vox in order to break free from his deal with Rosie.
Yep.
Um, I think that's a really interesting idea. I think that they thought of that and it's like, wow, this is really interesting.
It well, and that's why
Uh,
like there's got to be so much more with him because he's very obviously 12 steps ahead of everyone.
it's
Or
true. I think that we don't know what his next steps are, but
because
he comes up with a plan this season to give him put himself in the Vox's power to break free.
mhm,
Great idea. The reality though is that that meant that this season he spends 80% of his time sitting in a tied to a chair with
yes.
Vox. So I think the concept and the ending were really good with Alistair, but the day to day of him this season is they just took him out of play completely, except for him bantering with Vox a little bit. So I think that was like a big mistake in my opinion because we didn't get to see him develop with any other character. He was just sidelined for the whole season
Yeah.
in order for his plan to break free.
And maybe next season he'll be so much more significant. And that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah. I hope so. It's a good point that he does seem so 10 steps ahead and he has this whole plan. So you're right. What's his next step with Rosie? What's his next step with Charlie? I'm interested
Mhm.
to see. But yeah, like I get where they're coming from with him, but I feel like they just didn't consider that this would mean most of the season he's just not doing anything. And he has a good
He was
battle at the end. He's great
he
stuff in the finale. I loved we got his backstory,
mhm.
which we talked about. I give them a lot of credit for us giving season one, we set up Alistair's chain to someone.
Mhm.
What's his situation? Season two, pay it off. I give them
Yeah.
a lot of credit for just because most shows hold on to that for 5 seasons.
Well, and I love that like we didn't even like skirt like because you know how like sometimes they'll still like skirt around it, right? Even in the big
Yes.
reveal. No, straightforward. Wrote we had a whole song about it. Like
Yeah, yeah, and you're right that there might be more. You're right that there might be more to it, but I like from my perspective, like at least on the surface, they gave us everything. I really
yeah.
respect it a lot. The idea of Alistair's backstory was better than the payoff of what we got.
Mhm.
I think it was a little simplistic, and it's like, okay, Rosie is the one who he's chained to. Okay, that's a character we know who's really interesting.
Yeah.
Rosie, I want to know more about her. I like that it's Rosie, but we didn't get a like. I still don't understand Rosie. So it's like we
Yeah.
got the reveal that he's chained to Rosie, and he breaks free. But it's like, okay, but Rosie's just like a cannibal overlord, and she's just like a random overlord player. Probably not, but we didn't get that this
No.
season, so it felt a
I
little
feel like
insignificant.
I feel like in terms of like if you were gonna call anyone like a random overlord character, Like Velvet would fit that description more. You know what I mean? Like again, like because she's just kind of there. Whereas Rosie
Well,
obviously has some significance
right,
to,
but we know we don't know beyond her little cannibal section. We haven't been
yeah.
presented with what that is. Yeah,
Hmm.
so the payoff is a little deflating, I think, but I'm more happy
There's
that we got it,
payoff.
and we're yeah, like most shows don't give payoff. So
Yeah.
we're moving with him, so we're gonna move. I'm optimistic about Alistair next season. I'm optimistic about Angel Dust. I think both these are like arguably the two best characters in the show. I think both were fairly big misses this season, but we end on interesting notes, so I'm optimistic about them heading into season three.
Yes.
Um,
I'm
we
it should be exciting, hopefully.
We talked about Vox a lot. I think we hit Vox. Any other Vox
Yeah.
thoughts?
No, just again another shout out to Christian Borle. I think he had a
Yeah,
great time. I think he had so much fun doing it too, which
it did seem. Yeah, I guess I have more when we get to the songs.
okay.
Serpentious, interesting one. What did you think of Serpentious this season?
Sir Pentious. I I I'm not sure. He's
Yeah, I feel
one
the
cha-
same way.
he's one character where obviously like I was glad that he wasn't dead at the end of season 1. Um but like I feel like a little sympathetic towards him because he's in a place where he doesn't have any friends. There's literally an entire song about how no one up there is like him. Um
Yeah,
and then and to like on top of that, like at the beginning of it, like they're accusing him of being treacherous, and it's like, which is again, ooh, so very interesting that they're accusing him of being treacherous, um, even though he's innocent in all of it. But they're also treacherous characters. Oh, man, I love it. Also, one of my other fears besides cults is being accused of doing something and then having no way of proving your innocence, which was essentially like what Serpentius was having to deal with. But also like I feel bad because he's not with his friends. He just wants to be with his friends. He can't be with his friends. I don't know what we're gonna do with him. The cherry bomb thing was very interesting. I did really enjoy that song.
yeah, me too. I liked following up on their love story. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, and I guess they're now dating like long distance, if that's what
Long
we're gonna call
distance.
it.
Wow, there's no longer distance than heaven and
Heaven
hell.
and hell. So, I mean, I feel like as a character, we're kind of done with him, which, I mean, okay, I, which I guess also makes sense in terms of like Alex Brightman's career because he's definitely more focused on being Fozzarelli and Hell of a Boss. So
I think we'll get more Penchus next season. But
I
yeah,
think
he had some good songs. Yeah, it's interesting.
yes. Well, I will say, one of his songs is my favorite song.
Okay,
So
we'll come back to it.
yeah.
Nifty, not really a character, but she got more to do than I thought this season.
Yes.
But I liked her anime song.
Very cute.
Here, I had one moment where I'm like, what is this show's writing when Charlie like elects to bring Nifty to her interview at this like the TV station.
Yeah.
It's like, in what world do you think choosing Nifty is correct as like who to bring?
Well, it makes sense because everyone was like praised Nifty and held her up on a very high pedestal because she was the actual person to kill Adam. So
Yeah.
in
It's like,
my head,
does Charlie not understand that Nifty is like the way she is? I
well,
don't know.
it's like one of those things where like I understand her thought process in terms of bringing Nifty
Okay.
because she was
She was
like,
important. Yeah.
yeah, she was important. She was a person that the sinners of hell very much like were following, if that makes sense. So
Okay.
I think that in a way she was trying to like Vox them with Nifty, but she's not Vox and Nifty isn't either. So
Mm, yeah. Okay. Anything else on Nifty?
I love the theory that she's an overlord.
Oh. Interesting theory.
because it was only in the end sequence, it was the overlords who were using their powers to destroy the weapon, aka Lucifer, and Nifty contributed to that,
Yeah.
as
I mean,
did
is Charlie an overlord?
well, but she's the princess of hell, right? So
Yeah. I feel like
she
it's loose, but yeah, okay, interesting. It was mostly the powerful people that were contributing and she was contributing. Okay.
because there was also characters like Cherry Bomb wasn't contributing, but she was there because she didn't
I
have the
mean,
powers to contribute.
Was Husk
Husk was
contributing to it?
contributing because he's an
Oh,
overlord.
oh, he's okay, if Husk is an overlord, who cares who's an overlord? I forgot about that. Like it's okay. Speaking of Husk, another character who I thought was a big downgrade this season was Husk. Unfortunately,
Yes, but I really really enjoyed Love in a Bottle.
I do like
That
Love in a Bottle. I think similar to Losing Streak, it almost is nothing because it's just like about him being
yes. I think
depressed and drunk.
I think it was Keith David having a good time, and I'm there for Keith
We
David
did
having
we
a good
did
time.
get another Keith we did get another Keith David song. I wish we
I,
had more than that one song. It's a good song.
yes,
Certainly it's no Loser Baby.
it's no loser, baby, but I like that Keith David got his own song, and it was the sequence of events was very fun to watch it. I love that his character is getting more belligerent as the song goes on. um, but yes, I agree. I think he was very much like downgraded, downplayed in lieu of other things. So,
Yeah, I think the show. I suspect the show doesn't see Husk as like a main character, maybe more of a secondary character.
I
Um,
I think that's also a again goes back to what we were saying about how like season 2 has been written for so long that like it was written before season 1 was released, and
so they didn't know I think
yeah.
they didn't know he's a fan favorite. I think they didn't know him and Angel Dust. But at the very least, we need to see more Husk and Angel Dust. I mean, episode 6 is
I
good, but
think
like it's very service level. I think we need to see more
I
depth with
think we
them.
will. I think he's going to be very pivotable, pivotal. No, I can't do
Pivotal.
words. Pivotal to bringing Angel Dust
Yes,
back.
yes, yes, that's true.
Yes.
There's a lot of potential there. I do really like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say as much as I'm a lot negative, there's a lot of intrigue for season 3 because I do think they ended a lot of stuff good.
And
Um,
as we continue to talk too, I wonder if like because this obviously the season was very focused on Vox, and so because of that, characters had to take step back out of the limelight, but now we can focus on them again as we go into season 3.
Yes, yeah, I hope so. By the way, we did predict season 2 would be Vox's season. We predicted that on the first podcast.
Did we
Um,
really? Oh, go us.
yeah, yeah, we said season 2 Vox, season 3 Heaven, but there's a season 4, so I don't know is season 3 Heaven or season 4 Heaven. I don't know.
We'll see.
Uh, Loot and Abel. Do you agree that they were mostly not a lot of depth this season with Loot and Abel?
Very sidelined. Which again could have been on purpose. Uh, I like that they kept. I mean, we talked about it that they kept Lou very true to herself and her motivation. She doesn't think sinners deserve to be in existence. That's her motivation. She's obviously losing it because Adam's gone. Um,
Yeah, Gravity is great. I don't think she did a lot else.
she didn't do a
Um,
lot else, and
Gravity is really great though.
yeah.
Here's the thing with my question with Abel as I feel like this is a big how much season 6, especially the finale, worked for you. Is how did you feel about the Abel interlude in Hear My Hope, the like 1 minute interlude?
Um, Loved it. It gave me so much hope because all season I was really upset that again, I mentioned it. We introduced all these new characters and didn't do much with them. Baxter was literally just a plot device.
Yeah,
Um
speaking. Yeah, we can get rid of go do Baxter right now. He was kind of nothing this season.
he was nothing. He was literally
Okay.
nothing. He was just a plot device. That's all
Yeah.
he was. So I was very sad about that. But the fact that Abel was included in Hear My Voice gave me a lot of hope that we're going to explore that, especially because it with Lou. right? There's that weird dynamic. He mentioned his brother Kane. Super, I love everyone speculating who they're gonna get to voice Kane. Patrick Stump, love him. So he did a song first and was a character in Star Wars as the Forces of Evil. So
Yeah.
I'll always support him in animation until he absolutely just does something terrible. So because again, he's got like an interesting thing going on, right? Adam hated him, which is also biblically true. And but he's being passed this torch that he doesn't want, and they don't care that he doesn't want it. So like that leaves a lot of room for a lot of things to take place, especially since heaven is a mess right now.
Yes. Yeah, that's fun that he's Patrick Stump. Hey, but yeah, that interlude. I think in theory, you're interrupting the climactic scene for a pivotal moment with two characters who you poorly developed this season, and it's like unrelated to the rest of the song. I mean, it's related in the plot wise.
Yeah.
In theory, it should not work, but I have to say, I think it's really good, that
It's
interlude.
so
And
good.
I, when I first watched it, I was like, okay, this is a little weird. I was 50-50 on it, but listening to the song more and more, it's really, I mean, maybe it's just musically really good, but I think it works as a great moment for Abel's character. So I agree that at least they did something with him. But yeah, if I feel like if that interlude did not work for you, that's just so huge. Like the season is, in a lot of ways, really riding on that moment.
Yes.
So that's a big reason why I do really like the finale and that last song. Um, okay, who have we not hit on? I mean, most people. Lucifer. It's funny that he's trapped in the weapon for a lot of the season at the
Also,
end.
it's also even funnier too because Box is like, you're not powerful, but yet he's literally using him to create the
Yeah,
most
that's
powerful
true. How does
weapon.
that work?
Like
I guess he
again,
has power but is not allowed to use it. Is maybe what they're
Yeah,
going for.
Box is kind of an idiot. That's I do kind of hate that they've made him like a gag character. Um, and so I'm kind of hoping in season 3 he's it with Lilith coming back that we don't see that anymore. I mean, obviously we'll still get gags with him, but like I hope that that's not who he just becomes.
Yeah,
So,
I think he had a great like song in season one, and I think I agree, he's mostly a gag. He is part of Vox Populi, and he's really good there, but yeah, I don't think his character amounts to much, unfortunately here. But yeah,
yeah.
again, there's promise with Lilith coming back. Cherry Bomb, we talked about her song with
Yeah.
Penchus. I don't know if anything else with Cherry Bomb.
There was nothing else that took place with Cherry Bomb. That's the sad part. Like
That is kind of sad.
she could have and should have been such a fun character, and she just was there,
Yeah.
much like Velvet. So,
I really like Cherry Bomb, so I hope we get more. But yeah, again, there's just too many characters, and the show is only 8x 30-minute seasons
well,
with songs in them, so it doesn't have time to do all these
yeah.
characters.
Well, and I'm glad that what they did this season with at least they what they did with Cherry Bomb was that they addressed her connection with Sir Pentious, but her existence is mostly tied to Angel Dust. So I'm glad that like her character wasn't reduced down to like where her romantic intentions lie.
Hmm.
Um, so I will give the show credit for that. You didn't make her a character, but what you did do with her character, I can appreciate. So
I think she's like a Husk-esque role character in the show.
kind of,
There's
yeah.
a lot of secondary type. Okay, I think that's it. Sarah, I mean, we talked about Sarah. I will say, outside of my like giant rants about Sarah, I think she is like an interesting character, even if they went in a bad direction with her.
Hmm.
In my opinion, there's complex motivations there. I think that there's a lot of potential they could pay off with her still. Her song is really good. Um,
I was gonna say, whenever you're ready to start talking about songs, I'm ready to start.
okay, let's go to songs. That's all
Well,
for characters.
the reason why I bring that up is because like Sarah's Confession is one of my least favorite songs from the show. Which no disrespect to what
Is
is it?
it like, is it because of the reasons we were talking about in terms of the content of the
Yes.
song, or is it the song itself?
It's because of the reasons of the context of the song. It's a good song. Like there's no bad music in this show, right?
Yeah. So
Um
I agree that like thematically it's one of my least favorite, but I can separate, and like I do think it's a beautiful song musically, and
yeah, oh
if you
yeah.
don't, if you're not, don't have the mindset that I had with Sarah,
Like
then it's
they got what's her face? Liz I can't never
Callaway.
Calloway to sing or to do the voice of God or the speaker of God and
Hmm.
like love that. Like their voices together are incredible.
Yeah.
But in terms of like the context of the story, the song was so forgettable. Like I barely
Yeah,
remember the
I mean,
song.
I mean, it's important for establishing what the. I think it establishes Sarah's regretfulness, and it's kind of. I
But
mean, I guess we just, the thing is we keep hitting on that over and over after, so it's like
yes.
not unique in what it
Well,
establishes.
and the reason why I also say that too is because my favorite song is Live to Live.
Okay,
Mhm. That's my
uh,
favorite song. And
remind me again. This is
that's the one with Sir Pentious
Benches.
and
Yeah,
Sarah. So
I actually really love Live to Live as well. I have that
that's
favorited.
that is my favorite song from the show. And because there's so many good elements in it, um, because like Sarah like recognizes oh like like they talk about the whole like concept of being human and being afraid to die and like when she sings the song the line something has changed in you deep within like oh I get goosebumps like like how does a guilty soul shed
Nice.
their sin like oh it's such a good like moment and then I love that like the Serpentious piece of it as well. Um, props to Alex Brightman always for being so talented to want not only do the Serpentious voice but also to sing in it. Don't know how you do that, sir. But I love that like throughout it, he's like they bring back the it starts with sorry, but then as the song
Yes, I like them
progresses,
bringing that back.
it doesn't start with sorry. It starts with Charlie is the last
Oh,
yeah, because he goes
yeah,
like,
yeah,
"It
yeah.
starts with
I remember
sorry,
that.
though it cannot just end there. I learned from Charlie." And then as Sarah's continuing to sing, she's saying like, "Oh, to live to earn my own redemption." And in the background, Serpent is saying it starts with sorry, and then she continues on, and he says it starts with Charlie, and I'm like, that's it's so powerful. I don't yeah. I'll
Nice.
listen to that one on repeat.
I do like that one. Yeah, I forgot Sarah is a big part of that. Yeah, I mean, I wish I did not was not poisoned against Sarah this season, because I forgot she's also voiced by Patina Miller, who I really like, and Pippin, and like
Mhm.
such a good character, such a good voice. Like
Yeah. It's so sad.
I think other people won't agree with me on that, on this with us on Sarah. I feel like a lot of people are gonna like her this season. I don't know.
I feel like I haven't heard like hardly anything about her in people's reactions and things like that. I hear nothing. Like
Interesting.
not that I feel like I'm a voice of the people or anything like that, and I understand that like
Voice of God.
yeah, I'm not the speaker of God, the speaker
Speaker
of
of God.
Sarah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
um,
you've seen more than me though. Other okay, I said Easy, probably my favorite song of the season.
yes,
We've talked about Easy a lot earlier in the podcast. Hear My Hope from the finale is the climactic
yes,
song. I love Hear My Hope.
very good.
Is it maybe is it as good as the season one finale song? I'm not sure. Although I've listened to it a lot recently, and I do really really like it.
I
I
think
think
I
I
like
liked
it
it more.
more.
Interesting. As a song, I think it maybe is better. I think I was like, I'm higher on it listening to it from the soundtrack than I was watching it in the show. Because in the show, I mean, we haven't talked about this plot wise, but Vox ends up having like a nuclear weapon or whatever, and
Hmm.
they're just trying to disarm the nuclear weapon at the end. And it's kind of just a nothing. It's just like this is honestly like, why do so many animation finales devolve into either disarming a nuclear weapon or a giant kaiju fight or a giant monster fight, giant robot? Like,
Because
is
it's easy.
it's
Huh.
because if you just keep going big, then this is like the biggest you can go. Like nuclear bomb, that's like one of the biggest things you can do. But it's just a vehicle for whatever else is happening. It's like nothing on its own.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I don't really care about the plot context of it, but I do think it's a beautiful song, and I like integrating. Like I said, ultimately, like if the Abel interlude works for you is a big deal, and I also like the Alistair interlude as well. So
It's
ultimately,
it's a big like
it,
compilation song.
yeah, yeah, I think it really works for me. We mentioned "Losing Streak" already as well, the Angel Dust song.
Hmm.
I love that.
Very good. I really enjoy Has Been Guarantee,
Yes,
the
that's
very
one of my
first
favorites
song.
as well. Yeah.
Especially like the V's portion of it. Like I'll just one of my current like vocal stems right now is like get the f- out of my building, snip snip snitch. Like or when Keith David yells no I can't make a mai tai. So I got two
Nice. No,
vocal.
oh yeah, I do like that. Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember that. No, I like that's like your Charlie song of the season, I
Hmm.
guess. I really love. I wish there was like another Charlie
There isn't.
song.
She's she was the main, not the main character of this season.
That's sad.
It was all Vox. Like it was.
I love Charlie singing. So the season one Charlie and then the pilot Charlie song, those are
Mhm.
some of my favorites. So I like that both sides of the Has Been Guarantee as well. When I think about the future, I think it's from the second to last episode. I think it's a great setup compilation song as well
It's
for
yeah.
everything.
It's like a what is it? Montage song. Like
Yeah,
yeah. I think
that's yeah. What other favorites from you?
um Piss obviously.
Yes. Oh yeah, and we mentioned Gravity. I think Gravity's incredible.
Gravity is a good song. I really liked it. I, it's interesting that it's not my favorite, but I think that I like to think of a lot of the songs in context with the story and how they impacted it versus
Hmm.
listening to them on their own, if that makes sense.
Right. I no, I agree. As a pure song, it's one of the best, but it's nothing in the story, so
It
whatever.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So I was like I put it as an honorable mention because I was like it's a great song, but like it doesn't do anything in the story and um, I guess like I lose connection to it because of that. So
Hmm.
again, another great song. Just I'm trying to think of what other songs there are. Feel like
I have the playlist. I mean, those are the yeah. Oh, and Vox Populi. Again, not my cup of tea, but I think it's a very good song. Vox Day
especially
as well.
with the what is it? The Lucifer portion in the beginning. I think that's a lot
Hmm.
of fun. I think it also very much showcases Lucifer's character as well because he's like trying to be this big, huge, big bad, but then he's like, "But I'm so spooky." And I'm like, "Okay, Lucifer, I see you." um, Bad with Us is interesting. Um, Also the Don't You Forget. So I like that they like that's uh Alistair and Rosie's song and her
Yeah.
being like, "Hey, I'm in charge of you." But then I like that we bring it back with Vox after Alistair surrenders to him. I kind of liked that. And it also has like its own take on it too, right? So um it's like, "Hey, you're still under someone's control just in a different light." Um
Other favorite or
Oh,
least favorites?
Brighter. I forgot about Brighter. Brighter's a good
Yes.
song too. Christian Borle doing his thing.
Which one's the one where we do different genres? of. Is that Bad With Us or is it
That's
Brighter?
that's bad with us. Brighter is Vox's backstory.
Okay, yes, yes, yes. Yeah,
So
no, they're all good, all the Vox songs, honestly.
yeah, they're all good. They're all good songs, especially because they fit into what is happening so very well. Um, especially like the like Vox Populi and Vox Day, like those fit
Yeah, very well integrated.
so well integrated. It was very creepy, and it was where I was like, "Oh no, I don't like cult stuff. Can we not?" Like, so,
There you
uh,
go. And anything else on songs, and we can start to wrap up with final thoughts here.
songs, no, just
Okay.
no, nothing with songs.
Well, overall, April, any parting thoughts on Has Been season two?
What are the eyes that are everywhere? Whose eyes are
Where are the
those?
eyes? In the theme song? Or
No.
in the opening? Or
No, they're everywhere. They're on like the buildings and the walls, and they're especially prominent
oh,
in the scene where Fox is mind controlling Angel. There's so many of them, but you see them throughout, like not just this season, but season one too. I want to know who has the eyes because they're in like
nice.
pivotal. They're prominent in pivotal moments. Like I think there's like a set of eyes um when Alistair is with talking to the egg boys in like the alley. So I want to know what the eyes are. I can't go into any more than just wondering what they are, or are they just nothing? But also, they're in the logo or like the animation
Yeah, that's what I
logo.
meant.
So
Yeah.
so I need to know.
Okay, that's a good thought. I don't know how much I noticed. My any other parting thoughts?
um, no, I mean, I'm so curious for season 3. Like I
Yeah,
don't
definitely.
I don't know what we're going to do. I genuinely that's the other part of it is that like this show it like obviously season 1 ended on a cliffhanger, but season 1 felt very complete. Um
Yeah.
whereas this one I feel like there's so much left unsettled that I don't know if I'm excited or concerned or happy or and the ending felt very abrupt at this, even though like we had this big sequence at the end. And in the end I still feel like it was like, all right, we're done. Does that make sense?
No, I agree. It feels like more as a lead into the next seasons as opposed to season one. I think I think that makes sense. I agree. I'm also looking forward to my last thought. I could have said this in the beginning, but it kind of is like a wrap up. I feel like the show has a very specific tone, like
Mm-hmm.
obviously, but like it's like a pseudo edgy tone,
Yeah.
like self aware, is a lot of forced cursing, like
Yes.
random like f bombs, s like and the forced violence. It's very specific, and I think that if you're into it, it's really endearing. And when it loses you, I think it can be rough. So
Yes.
I think that would describe my experience a lot of this season. Is like I got lost by by the show a little bit. It wasn't working, and so the tone lost me. Um, I want to buy back in more. I think it got me a little bit at the end, but I want to buy back in more in season three. So
That's
that's what I'm hoping.
that's so interesting that it lost you in the or because I feel like most of it was like at towards the end of the season, the
I mean,
unnecessariness.
it's in terms of the unnecessary cursing. It's all even Charlie like
Yeah.
launches into. I mean, it's I mean that's what the show is. Like it's like what you're signing up for by watching Has Been.
I feel like
The violence, I sure a lot of it at the end.
oh yeah. Well, okay. I take the violence with a grain of salt because we're in hell. Like
Yeah, I mean, what is it? What I still don't know what that means because you can die, but like, does it matter if you get hurt? Yeah, these sorts of things
I
are the questions I have.
I don't know, man. I'm not sorry. I don't know.
You're the you're the voice you're the voice of the speaker of the
I'm
people.
the
That's
speak
what we've established.
I don't know. I just don't I don't know. and I feel like I understand more or less because I've watched Hell of a Boss too. So
Yeah, interesting. Because I've seen the beginning, so it's because it's kind of like a separate thing, but it's in theory related and in the same world, so it's hard to say what it
yeah,
means.
I
Yeah,
will say the very first episode of Hell of a Boss is a lot. Like it's a
yeah.
lot, a lot.
I think I had trouble after
It's a
continuing after
lot,
that
a
one.
lot. If you, and I hate to be like the person of like, if you stick with it, it gets really, really good,
Hmm.
but you gotta stick with
Okay,
it.
well, I'll try at some point. It's as related to that. I think because of this like specific tone I was talking about. I think it's hard to recommend Has Been to people. Like I don't know who would
Yes.
like this exactly.
I
It's
feel like
kind of
it's
like you
like a
gotta.
secret code. Like you like meet a person in the street and then like you're talking to them and then you're like, you should watch Hazbin Hotel if you haven't already. But 9 times out of 10, it's like when you sense that about a person, they're like, "Oh, I've seen that," and you're like,
Yeah,
"Yes, yes, you have."
if they're a weirdo, they might have seen it.
I don't even.
Uh,
It's such a crossover because you have the whole like musical theater aspect of it, and so you're
yes, yeah.
like, I want to recommend it to theater kids,
I think that's the easiest go to, but it's still
but
like
it's
it's probably a lot for them.
it's not even then because I have like one of my best friends, like, she was a theater kid too, but I feel like she would enjoy the show. I just can't get her to watch it, if that makes sense. And especially because she was just like, April, have you heard, like, she said, like, she shared with me the Patrick Stump like interlude portion, and I was just like, that's literally from Hazbin Hotel. I have heard this. Go watch the show.
Yes, go watch it.
So it's, yeah, it is a hard show to recommend to people because they really have to be cool.
You have to cool in quotes. Yeah,
Cool.
exactly. Cool to us.
Yes.
Relative to us. I think it is very popular though
It's super
on Amazon.
popular.
So it's interesting. I guess a lot of interesting people to watch the show.
It is very,
Uh,
very popular. So, especially because with like I say characters like Brandon Rogers, who he's he has a very specific sense of humor, and if you're into it, you're into it, and if you're not, you're not. And I think that's the best way to describe this show. Like if I had to put
yeah,
representation of these shows into one person, it would be Brandon Rogers for sure. So
interesting. Okay. There you go for an hour longer than I thought. There's our season two has been
I warned
thoughts.
you, Dylan. I warned you.
I knew it happened. Well, thank you very much, April. That was a lot of good discussion. Let us know what you thought of the discussion. Everyone listening, leave a comment, even if you disagreed with the criticisms. Let us know respectfully what you thought of everything we talked about. Let us know your season three speculation. That's the thing I'm probably most interested in because it seems like there's a lot of interesting uh, avenues the show could go, and I'd like to hear what people are thinking about that. Leave comments, overlyanimated.com. If you're listening on YouTube, leave a comment there, or on iTunes or wherever, you can leave a review. Come to our Discord, overlyanimated.com/Discord, and you can consider supporting us on Patreon at patreon.com/overlyanimated. Thanks to all of our patrons, especially our patron of the podcast, Phonician, and thanks always to our patron executive producer, Steve, Michael, and Phonician. Check out our Miraculous Ladybug coverage, very different show, and whatever else we have going on. We've had Avatar rewatch coverage as well at Overly Animated. Check all that out. Who knows what is next
Who
after this? We
knows?
will see.
We're in a
Maybe
weird
Bluey. I don't know.
we're in a weird point in in our lives where we
Yeah.
don't know what's
Oh, I did. Oh,
next.
yeah. Here's. I don't know if we'll actually get a Fiona and Cake season two podcast. TBD. Are you watching
Oh,
April?
no, I really want to watch Fiona and Cake. I just haven't. It's on my list of shows to
Yes,
watch.
watch season one. So I love season one. We did a podcast. So my brief thoughts, because it's related to Hasbin, is just that similar to Hasbin season two, it's not what I was like expecting Fiona and Cake. It's like Fiona and Cake season one was like a travel kind of adventure show, and season two has been different. And I think I'm still kind of grappling with it. And so we're midway through the season right now. And so I'm still kind of grappling with this season being different than the first season. I think it's kind of a similar experience to Has Been season
Yeah.
two. That being said, Fiona and Cake season two I do think is better than Has Been season two. It's been different, and we'll see what I think of it at the end. Anyway,
Oh,
there's your comparison.
I was gonna say, speaking of shows, Knights of Guinevere, um, that
Yeah, the pilot from
the pilot was very
Dana
good.
Terrace.
I really want it to get picked up. So if it does get picked up, I'm telling you right now, I just want a podcast on
Okay.
it.
We will see. I did watch the pilot. It's very weird. So
I love the
uh,
weird though.
yes.
I'm here
By
for
the way,
the
at some
weird.
point I was like, April's baby name. It's related to an animation. That was the answer. It was the not Guinevere.
But her name's
But
Gwyneth.
I know, but it's similar, right?
Yeah,
Similar.
it's close enough.
You were early on you be I mean I guess same time, but you had it before Knights of
Yes.
you had Gwen before that show. You've let
Yes.
it be known. Okay. Anything else, April?
I got nothing.
Okay, thank you guys for listening. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.